Hey, what's up, y'all? We got a pair of vintage Air Revolutions that are going to need a midsole swap. The uppers are in pristine condition because they've never been worn. We're going to replace it with a brand new midsole so they'll be wearable again. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a small air unit on the forefoot of the midsole. I don't think it adds any type of comfort since it's pretty thin. My client wanted to use these Jordans as donors, which I strongly advised not to at first. Only because in my experience when I was sole swapping a pair of Yeezy ones, Nike Yeezy ones, a customer gave me a pair of Jordan 3s as donors. When I put the Jordan 3 midsole on top of the Nike rubber sole, it was so off, it just wouldn't work. It was off by a few millimeters. So he had to buy another pair of donors, which were the Nike Air Revolutions. We were pretty much set on keeping the Jordan sole for the project, but of course it would be so much better if we kept the original Nike sole. I was just afraid the midsole would not line up perfectly with the original rubber sole. Now my next step is to remove the rubber sole by using a heat gun. After taking off the rubber sole, I'm already running into some issues with the fitment. I'm going to need to trim the top of the midsole so I can close that gap on the edge of the rubber sole. I'm also going to need to shave a little bit of the foam on the heel so that rubber hump fits perfectly on the midsole. I'm going to use acetone and cotton balls to remove any of the old factory glue and leftover midsoles still left on the rubber sole. To make sure I remove all of the factory glue, I use a Dremel tool to sand down the rubber. Yo, the midsole paint on these shoes are really strong. I tried using acetone and cotton balls and this is as far as I got. If the paint is already this solid, I'm just gonna sand it down, apply some Bulldog adhesion promoter and paint over the existing paint job. If I risk using any more chemicals, I might damage the midsole itself. So another issue that I'm facing is that the foam midsole isn't a perfect fit to the rubber sole, so I'm going to need to shave down the foam with the Dremel tool to have a perfect flush. Now the rubber sole is closing the way it should be. After shaving down the midsole, now it's time to bond both the midsole and the rubber sole together. I'm just prepping both parts with acetone and cotton balls just so we can get a strong bond. I'm going to apply a thin layer of barge cement super stick on both the midsole and on the rubber sole. And I'm going to do this twice, so both layers have 2 layers of glue. Once I set in the second layer of glue, I'm going to bond them together. While we're letting the glue cure, we're going to remove any of the factory glue that's still left on the uppers. And to do that, we're going to be using cotton balls and acetone. Now that the glue has been fully cured on the soles, I'm going to apply a second layer now. So while the soles are curing, I'm going to point my hair dryer onto the soles for about 10 minutes. This is so I can bond the shoes right away without having to reactivate the glue with heat. Once the timer is up, I'm going to start putting pressure all over the rubber sole so it can fully bond. The soles are looking really good, but now it's time to adjust the foam so the upper could fit nice and flush. There's a lot of gaps that need to be shaved down, so I'm going to use my Dremel tool to help me with this. It's starting to look better, but I still have a lot more shaving to do. I'm going to use this heat disappearing pen to trace where the midsole lines up with the upper, so then I can apply my tape on that exact line. I just found it easier to use an X-Acto knife to scratch up the leather where the midsole touches the leather, just so we could have a stronger bond. I'm going to do the same steps as I did with a rubber sole to the uppers, so I'm going to apply a thin layer of glue on top, and while it's curing I'm going to allow warm air to circulate the glue and set a timer for 10 minutes before I bond them. I'm basically going to do the same process in small sections throughout the whole shoe. To prevent the glue from accidentally getting on the midsole, I'm going to tape up the midsole so the glue will just get on the tape. One quick tip, if you get excess glue on the rubber sole, you can let it fully dry and sand it down with sandpaper to remove it. I was talking to Who Fresh and he recommended to use Barge Cement Infinity again. And I gotta tell you, it's actually better than Super Stick. After all these years, I thought Super Stick was the best type of glue to use because of the name. Nah. After stress testing the toe box, I've noticed that my glue is separating. Maybe because I didn't prep it well, maybe because I used Super Stick that ain't that super. Whatever it is, we're gonna close it right up again. And honestly, it's pretty normal for vintage shoes to start separating again after you glue it, just because of the condition of the leather. The shoes are finally glued. Now the next step is to paint the midsole. Before we repaint, I'm going to cover up the air bubble with the stencils that I made. I'm going to prep the midsoles one last time with cotton balls and acetone before I apply my Bulldog adhesion promoter. I'm going to start applying an eggshell white base coat and sand down the midsole if I see any lint or debris. While the paint is curing, I'm going to start a paint match for the gray that's on the midsole. This took about 30 minutes to figure out. You can see my paint match on the furthest left. If you guys want sharp paint lines, you have to make sure that there's no lint or debris at the edge of your tape. For the next step, I'm going to apply the final colors of the paint. Right now I'm applying my black paint, then I'm going to continue and finish off with the gray. To protect the paint, I'm going to use this 4-coat varnish from Angelus. Now the final touch-ups is just to remove any loose thread on the upper. We're going to finish the project by stitching the toe cap with my sewing awl. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you guys learned something new. If you guys need your shoes restored, my email is down in the description. Be sure to subscribe to see more videos like this, and I'll see you guys later.